Cal, Bob, thank you so much for the time to chat with you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Honestly, the film's a joy. It is such a joy. I did not expect how much I would enjoy. I liked the first one. I didn't expect how much I would enjoy this film. Um, what excites you about the franchise and the Mighty Pups, or the Mighty movie, I should say?
I think for us, I've got two little kids, so we've grown up as a Paw Patrol household from the beginning of our involvement with the franchise. And when we were talking about what would be a great sequel, very early on, the idea of doing the Mighty Pups, a kind of pups with superpowers movie, got everyone excited. And for us, it felt like a chance to almost explore a whole new genre within the Paw Patrol universe. There are expectations and conventions in a superhero movie that we have to kind of be mindful of and deliver on. And so that was a wonderful challenge for us from a writing perspective. And then from a directing perspective, the kind of scope and the set pieces and all of those things, it was really exciting. So it's something everybody jumped on right away.
And it works. It's funny you talk about it being an evolution in some ways of the series, because it is different. You have this grounded, in some grounded. I mean, they're dogs that dogs that are driving cars, but it's more grounded. But then they've got superpowers involved and whatnot. So it is a bit of a change. But there's more to it than that. I think I was wondering, from your perspective, how do you think the Paw Patrol has evolved over the years? Because this is a decade-long franchise now, and I remember when it first started, my kids were watching it when it first started, and they liked it, but we're really knee deep in it now.
I think the I'll speak to the movies specifically because I
Mhm.
think the this series has been wonderful and really a lot of kids have grown up with it. And when we started on the first movie, our question was, how far can we push what people know and love from the series to really make a theatrical experience, make sure that it doesn't feel like a big episode, but it's a real reason to get out to the movie theater. And the response to the first one was so good that we pushed even further on the second one. We felt like we're walking with the audience, kind of getting permission for, like, how big can we make these? How, and it seems as though the appetite is there for, as big an experience as we can make. They seem on board for. I want to just jump back to something you said, which I love, is this idea of the movie being grounded. It's something we talk about a lot um, in terms of trying to not make the world too crazy and magical. Otherwise, it takes away from what's amazing about what the pups are doing. So yes, they drive cars and they talk and they do, but everything else, even the physics of how things, the disasters unfold or any of these kind of things, we're really conscious to try and keep that grounded so that when one of the pups is in danger, you feel the stakes. And when they succeed, you feel a sense of accomplishment. And I think sometimes in animation, you can lose your way if everything's too zany. Suddenly people start to check out and they're not invested, especially in this franchise, which is like around rescues and stakes and all these things. Having it grounded is really a kind of cornerstone of what we're always talking about, is how can we do this big stuff but make it believable.
I think the other thing just about on the movie side of things, because having a chance, the first movie we really had a lot of fun making, and then sort of raising the stakes with the second one, as big and as spectacle driven as we were able to make it, it's all rooted in the story of Sky and having a character and really following her journey throughout the thing. And that's one of the wonderful things, that with the movies we're able to tell a longer story. We just have a bigger palette to make something that resonates emotionally, as well as giving you a fun wild ride of the movies, which we obviously love.
And that to me is what gives the film its power. No pun intended when I say that, because I mean, you can have a film about pups driving cars, and you even make a joke within the film about apologizing to parents for the marketing aspect of it and whatnot. Um, but there's some real story happening and some real emotional arc amongst its characters, especially Sky and Liberty. So there's a real emphasis on the female characters in this particular film. I was wondering why that was important to you to explore their journeys.
I think exploring a kind of primary character's emotional journey, and ultimately, building it around an idea that's universal to both parents and kids is something that we're always looking for. For Sky, she's learning that the smallest pup can make the biggest difference, and that's something we thought would really resonate with kids who oftentimes feel like they don't have as much power to control their world or their environment as they can, and so that kind of empowering nature of that, but also for adults in our world, a lot of, what difference can one person make, what those kind of themes are there. So trying to find a theme that bridges both adults and kids, and they can be in different ways but are both meaningful, is something we're always looking for at the center of these films. And then for in terms of making it Sky's story, it was Chase's story in the first movie, and we are big fans of Sky. Sky is my daughter's favorite character, full disclosure, and we wanted to really dig in and find out what her story and backstory was on this second movie.
You said you tapped into a key word, I think, for this particular film, and I love hearing this because this is exactly what I'm connecting with in the story, and that's power. And of course they get powers, and I'm using powers in quotes here, but that the film seems to touch on this deeper aspect of power, moving beyond the idea, even Liberty. I don't have my superpower yet, and whatnot, and Sky's overuse of power, which is really interesting. I was just wondering, from your perspective, is there anything you hope that kids learn about where their power comes from this film?
I'll let you go, but I have just one thing I want to start with.
Hop in.
For Liberty, Liberty in the movie is trying to figure out what her power is, and she's looking around, and all the other pups, it seems to be something related to who they are, and she's asking herself, well, I'm just Liberty, what's my power? Mm-hmm. And over the course of the film, we see her trying to copy other people's power, and it's not until she kind of does her own thing that she discovers what it is. So that's kind of at the core of her story, is like, hey, your power might not be what your friend's power is. It's going to be something different that you have to discover for yourself. And so that's what we tried to kind of work into Liberty's story.
Well, and on the Liberty front, what I'd also say is just the fact that as she is discovering her power, we see her going through that, and basically, it's a relatable experience to go, even if maybe you didn't make the team or you didn't do that, you can still, that doesn't mean you have to give up. And we see her, even her whole journey with the junior patrollers, her saying, and she even says that, even though she doesn't have powers, doesn't mean they can't contribute. And we sort of felt like that resilience. I mean, she's a character that, we had in the first movie, and we loved her, and we wanted to give her something interesting to do, and felt like that was a really kind of fun journey for her character, to sort of have her go from being annoyed with these little puffballs to then actually being like their best friend,
taking them under her wing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, like I said, there's so much to connect with, and going back to, again, that word grounded. I like that you're talking before about the world sort of being grounded, because I think it helps these stories to land, because the stories for kids are more relatable in so many more ways, for these experience to be in a, again, in quotes, real world scenario, for these pups to be learning along the way. I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful storytelling. I mean, we're starting to run out of time, but I mean, I thought I can't, honestly, I love the film. I can keep talking about it, but I'm just, from your perspective, what is the next step for PAW Patrol? Or is there a third film in the works? I know that probably the series is running, but I mean, your focus probably be on the film side. What's the next phase?
We just had the #1 movie in the world with PAW Patrol this last weekend, and they've just announced part 3, which full disclosure, we've been working on already for quite a while, and you know, we think it's going to be bigger and better than movie 2. That's always our objective, is to, you know, we feel like it's such a gift to get to make movies, that we owe it to everybody, and especially to ourselves, to every time we get another at bat with one of these things, to try and raise the bar emotionally, stakes, spectacle, everything we can do to really to really up our game from one movie to the next. I think when you look at the number of people who are going to give hours of their lives to watch these things, you really want to make sure you leave it all on the screen. So yeah, we're excited about the next one, and really excited about the response to number 2. Has been wonderful so far.
And I should say congratulations on that, because I mean, Paw Patrol walked into the box office and pounced on some pretty big franchises this weekend. I think that speaks a lot, though, again, to the quality of the storytelling that's being brought out. And I should say, and this impressed me, the action scenes in this particular film, there's a lot of care put into them. Like I'm sure that from your perspective there are as well, but I'm not going to point fingers or say anything, but in some animated films, you don't have that sort of intensity that you do in a film like this, and I think that's a real testament to the quality overall.
That's really appreciate you saying that. Our partners at Micros Animation, the studio that we work with on these, really are committed to doing great work and raising the bar every time. And you're right, takes an incredible amount of effort from lots of people to get these things, the action sequences, to play at that level of intensity. And really, it's about hundreds of artists and production people working together to kind of get the balance right, and work in such a way that you can kind of craft these things. And really, it's about getting them tight, so you have enough intensity per second. It's not some long flabby thing, but whether it's her ship blasting lasers and blowing up meteors and fire flying by, that's a lot of people touching every one of those shots, and really takes a lot of orchestration to kind of keep all of those pieces working together, and the lighting working with the fireballs, working with the animation, working with the camera, all of that stuff. And so that's a huge testament to the team.
And if I can jump in and speak, because as the writer, I get a front row seat, but Cal, to watch the directing, I have to say, just to speak to it, it's I mean, it is a vision that is sort of from the script all the way through, that to watch him sort of go from the storyboards all the way through to the camera to the final animation, it really is something where, in conjunction working with all of our amazing artists, that you see from the start, this is all planned, and this is like, it really is just sort of a fine tuning, and it's, you know, like I said, it's incredible to watch the movie come together and see that direction and see that kind of vision come to life.
Thank you, Bob.
There's a reason we've worked together for 20 plus years, that I'm a fan of this guy.
It shows, and you two are working together great, because this sort of product, I think, is really, really high. The quality is great. It's just a wonderful film, and thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the film's success, and look forward to the third entry.
Thanks so much, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Yes, great to chat with you. Thank you.
Great to chat with you too. Have a great day.
Take care. See ya.
Bye-bye.